T.O. is back in town, all right? A.J. Brown, an amazing debut for the Eagles. 10 catches for 155 yards in this game.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the start of another Eagles season and the new Lehocky Eagles postgame show. We are live right here from Ocean Casino and in Atlantic City. We're live on 6abc.com and YouTube JAKIB Media Sports Network. I am Mike Missinelli, and I'm honored to be working with my partners today. The great Derek Gunn, of course, been covering Eagles for a long time, and all-pro linebacker Seth Joyner. And guys, a rather bizarre game in that we thought the Eagles were in control and it was going to be another routine Eagles win, and here come the Lions with a couple of fourth quarter touchdowns to make it really interesting. And the Eagles needed two really big first down conversions to lock this one up. What did you guys see?
Well, I had said on the pregame show, one of my concerns going into this game was the fact that the first team offense and defense didn't get many reps in preseason, and I thought they would come out and have a little bit of rust. They seemed to get rid of that rust real soon after Detroit went down and struck first. But then you could tell that especially the defense, this bend but don't break mentality, Seth, man, I'm going to have to take a lot of stomach medication before this season is over if this is the kind of defense we're going to have to watch the rest of the season.
Well, listen, I told you guys that it's just not in Jonathan Gannon's DNA. I was shocked because I tweeted during the game. I was like, was that a zero blitz that I just seen Jonathan Gannon run? And excuse me, he blitzed a couple of times. But where you can really make hay is when you get a quarterback like Jared Goff, who's pressure adverse, and you can apply that pressure and you can really get some good things done. But there is no way in the world you can tell me that offense is good enough with DeAndre Swift, Hockenstein, and one wide receiver, and they put 35 points up on this defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Is it possible, and I'm looking at this game, and it looked like the Eagles had it well in control, is it possible that they relaxed a little bit, they relaxed defensively, and they played that bend but not break defense instead of taking chances to let them back in the game quickly?
No, listen, I feel like in the first quarter, I should say, they felt the pressure. I think Jonathan Gannon felt the pressure of having Detroit take the ball, right down the field. DeAndre Swift on that first series, he had 6 carries for 77 yards, and he capped it off with a touchdown. They come back the second series, and Jonathan dials up a couple of blitzes.
Right.
And now he applies the pressure, and Jared Goff is a little bit rattled. Now the offense kind of gets on track, and they start to make some things happen. We tie the game up, then we get an interception and go up by a touchdown on Bradbury's return, and then it seems like the minute that we think we got the game in control, and that's the thing that will get you beat more than anything, is when you think you have the game in control and you start getting away from what got you to where you got to, and then all of a sudden, here they come. Here come the Detroit Lions. Goff starts to get comfortable. He starts to get in the rhythm, and next thing you know, boom, they got a game, and it's fight on again, where it should never have had to be that way.
The thing that killed me the most was once Gannon began to dial up more pressure, you could tell that Jared Goff does not handle the pressure well, which led to that interception by Bradbury to take it to the house. Then all of a sudden he goes back to this 4-man rush, and you let the Detroit Lions creep back in the game, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, you have all of this talent up front in your front seven. Why are you not utilizing it to the best of the ability? And the thing that kills me the most is they had one quarterback sack against Detroit, and that was on a fluke play when Goff dropped the ball and Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham converged on him.
Well, this is going to be an ongoing story about what the Eagles have to do defensively, and we all assumed that they were going to be different this year with better personnel. They were going to be better against the run. They were going to blitz a little more, be a little more aggressive. It didn't turn out that way in this game, but maybe the big lead shaped that, and of course we'll talk about that. And there's some very good and some bad things in this game. So let's first talk about the good. T.O. is back in town, all right? A.J. Brown, an amazing debut for the Eagles, 10 catches for 155 yards in this game, and he gives them a reliable weapon. They couldn't handle A.J. Brown. Now, conversely, Devontae Smith was kind of invisible, but I think the Lions decided to try to single up guys, and if they doubled A.J. Brown, Smith was going to hurt him. But what a debut, Seth.
Listen, there's no doubt about it. You know, we were talking about it in the green room as we were watching the game. I said that A.J. Brown is worth all 100 million that they extended him for if he's going to play like he played today. And you know, the issue is I'm waiting the entire time. I'm waiting for the Detroit Lions and Aaron Glenn to go and double him and take him away, which then opens up the entire field for everybody else to eat a little bit, and they never did it. And it seemed to me that, and a lot of people I've been following on Twitter, we've been talking about it, a lot of people have been saying, hey, you know what? You know, why isn't Jalen spreading the ball around? Well, he had a mismatch. Anywhere that A.J. Brown lined up today, it was a clear mismatch, and there wasn't any question about it. So until they adjusted, hey, we always say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go back to the well as many times as you can go back if they're not going to adjust to it. They didn't adjust, and he had a hell of a day.
Well, here's the other question, and we have to address this because the two questions coming in were, did Jonathan Gannon influence defense and would it look differently? And also, Jalen Hurts. Always going to be the topic. So Aaron Glenn decided to come out and blitz the heck out of him early. And when he did blitz, and I thought he got off it a little bit, Derek, when he did blitz, it looks like Jalen's first instinct was to get out of Dodge. And Seth, we were talking about this. Sometimes you just have to kind of stay in there and find a hot receiver.
Well, a lot of times, see, and this is the part of it all, you know, you got to really look at it and understand. If they bring pressure and they play zone behind it, okay, then he can stay in the pocket, and he wants to scramble horizontally to give his receivers an opportunity to find the holes in the zone and come back to him. But if they're in man coverage, and they're going to blitz, particularly if they're in zero coverage, and he can get out, then of course you want to break the line of scrimmage and take off, because if it's single high safety, by the time that guy realizes, you know, that what's going on, he's 20, 30 yards back. Everybody else is got their back turned in man-to-man coverage, so now you can take what you can get. But there are times, I believe, there are times like late in the game, you know, I believe it was 3rd and 7, and they came with a blitz, and Jalen escaped. Instead of him escaping and looking to pass the ball, he escaped and was looking to run the ball. And I think there was an opportunity there. But listen, it's the first game of the season.
Listen, it's a good thing, Derek, that he's got that ability to get out of there, because he stung them early on, and maybe that's why Aaron Glenn didn't go back to it. But what did you see with Jalen?
Yeah, the thing that I kept saying to Seth in the green room was, where's the hot read? Because Detroit basically was telling you, especially in the second half, they were going to blitz. Where's your hot read from your offense to keep your quarterback out of trouble? Because look at how many times Jalen had to run for his life, and in a number of cases just flipped the ball out of bounds, which was a smart move by him to keep from taking a quarterback sack. But I just didn't like the way the offense was structured in terms of countering the blitz. When you play a game, it's point, counterpoint. I didn't think the offense had enough counterpoints, and they allowed Detroit to creep back into this thing. Now, obviously, it's the first game, and I said at the beginning on our pregame show, if you're going to be rusty coming out, it's a good thing to play the likes of the Detroit Lions, because you can make your mistakes in this game and come out on top. I just didn't expect it to be this close.
I'll give the Lions a little bit of credit, because they did try to live up to their Hard Knocks image where this whole tough guy and we fight and all that stuff. And they did fight pretty well. And we got to give a shout out to Philly native DeAndre Swift was a monster today. DeAndre, 15 carries, 144 yards, caught a few more balls for 31 more yards, 175 yards against the Eagles today.
Well, I think one of the other problems you get into when you don't practice full speed is that when the game is live and the intensity level goes up the way that it does in the first week of the season, now all of a sudden you're playing at an intensity deficit. So as I'm watching this, that first series, DeAndre Swift just did what he wanted to do. Now, I realized he was a bad dude, but, to have darn near 100 yards in the first half, that's unconscionable against this defense that's supposed to be that much improved.
So
with a linebacker.
Is this a shot at what they did not do in preseason? Because he does not like to hit in preseason. Conversely, the Lions really went after it. Is that a factor in a game like this?
Listen, let me tell you something. The Eagles can ill afford to give up 183 yards rushing the game, especially when you're playing against a quarterback who's not mobile. Can't do that.
How many tackles did we watch them miss in this game? That's ridiculous. Some of the poor tackling in this game. But then again, we expect that when you don't live practice tackling like Detroit did. They had a very rigorous training camp. It showed. And, now you got to get that rust off. You got to get up to speed because a much better opponent is coming 8 days from now.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.